Welcome back to Midnight Digital Decay. The late 1960s saw a peculiar urban development craze in the Pacific Northwest, a time when cities like Portland and Seattle were rapidly expanding. Construction boomed, especially the digging of new underground tunnels and infrastructure. Some of these tunnels were massive, designed to connect new transit systems, while others were more obscure. Storm drains, utility corridors, and forgotten bomb shelters from a Cold War era gone by. In 1968, a massive tunnel project was started just outside of Seattle, known locally as the Cascadia Complex. It was meant to connect different urban sections through a series of deep underground channels designed to withstand earthquakes and potential wartime threats. But the deeper the workers went, the stranger things became. Some said the earth itself began to resist. Machinery malfunctioned. Workers reported hearing distant, unexplainable sounds, almost like whispers echoing through the tunnels. Still, the project pressed on. By late 1969, the tunnels had reached depths no one had anticipated. At 800 feet, a cavern was accidentally breached. At first, it seemed like a geological anomaly, a vast subterranean chamber untouched by man or machine. But what they found inside defied all logical explanation. Rows of crude, hand-carved stone seats lined the chamber walls, arranged in concentric circles, facing inward to a massive stone altar at the center. On the altar was an inscription in a language no one recognized, not Latin, not any known dialect from indigenous tribes of the region. Shortly after the discovery, the project halted without explanation. The official reason was structural instability, but those who had been part of the project knew better. Workers began to disappear, not en masse, but in ones and twos. It was subtle at first, brushed off as desertion, until over a dozen people vanished. Those that remained spoke of strange occurrences, phantom figures seen in the distance, growing darker and closer each time they were spotted. The whispers in the tunnels grew louder, like a low hum that reverberated through the bones. Rumors began to spread of a hidden society, something ancient, predating the tunnels themselves. They were called the Watchers of the Depths, a cult that had supposedly existed long before the European settlers arrived. The tunnels were not just modern infrastructure, but an intersection point between the surface world and the realm below, a place where these ancient beings watched and waited. Some believed they had been disturbed by the construction, their subterranean layers uncovered for the first time in centuries. A former construction worker, who only went by the name Fitz, came forward decades later in 1994 with his story. His account, largely dismissed by the press, speaks of a ritual that was performed inside that underground chamber. He claimed that after the discovery, some workers had been approached by a group of robed figures, men and women who were not part of the construction team, yet moved freely among them. These figures offered the workers knowledge in exchange for a vow of silence. Fitz described the ritual as a binding of souls, where those who agreed became part of something far greater, something darker. Those who refused, Fitz had no comment on their fate. According to his story, these workers became initiated into the Watchers, bound to protect the entrances to the tunnels. In return, they were promised immortality and eternal existence beneath the earth. Fitz himself claimed to have escaped the ritual just as it began, but he confessed that something had been following him ever since. He claimed that late at night he could hear a dull hum, like the sound of digging coming from the earth beneath his feet. He moved homes multiple times, but the sound followed him. Further investigation into Fitz's claims was difficult. The original site of the tunnel project, the Cascadia complex, was sealed off in the mid-1970s, reportedly for safety concerns. It is now government property, and no one has been allowed access for decades. Requests for blueprints, documents, or even mention of the project in local archives have been met with dead ends. Officially, the project does not exist. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more of this content. It lets me know people enjoy it and motivates me to continue to create it for you all. If you haven't already, check out my link tree in the description for more esoterica.